Good morning, kites, and welcome to your talk for writing lesson today. So, we are going to learn how to describe a setting using details. So by the end of today, you'll be successful in learning the key skills to write a successful setting description. Okay, so we have looked at A Tale of Fear. We are learning about Fowler's Yard. So Mrs. Bayfield has recorded the story that you listened to yesterday. I want you to pause the video now and listen to it again. It's really key that we get the story in our head because we can magpie some ideas from it. Okay, so pause now and have a look at the video. Okay, so we are describing a setting using detail. Now there's some key skills I want to talk to you about. Okay, the first one is personification. Okay, we learnt about it a few years ago and we haven't really revisited it yet. Okay, so personification is when you make an inanimate object sound like a person. So for example, the stars, okay? I could say the stars danced in the night sky because stars don't really dance. I'm making them sound like a person. Or I could have the lightning blinked or the thunder roared. And I need to think about what is going to fit in my setting description. Now our focus is writing tales of fear. So we're going to have to think about what makes a setting scary. We don't want a magical fairy castle with flowers leaping about and birds singing because that's not going to scare our reader. So we need to choose a setting that will invoke fear because we know when we are writing a tale of fear, we need to choose a setting, a person, or a thing that makes it scary. Okay? So we're going to focus on the setting today. Now, you can see here I have selected some pictures because Fowler's Yard is one good idea of a setting description, which is already done. I don't need to copy that. You don't need to copy that. We can think about it for ourselves. So I've chosen a remote barn. So a barn, remote. I don't mean remote controller. I mean somewhere far away where actually it's not got houses around it. It's not in the middle of Wellington. It might be in the middle of the countryside, okay? So I want you to think, okay, where could I set my story, okay? If you want to, you can research an image, okay? Make sure that you're using a child-friendly search like Kiddle, okay? Find an image that might be scary for you. If not, some people might have it in their head straight away because they've seen it in a story, or they might have gone, oh, when I was doing my Maya research, there might have been a building that I thought, oh, that looks quite scary, quite ancient, okay? So, we're going to focus while I do my writing on a barn, okay? So, remote barn, and I am going to write a paragraph on a setting. So, you are going to write a paragraph on a setting, but we're going to use some other skills. Now, when we wrote our suspense stories, we spoke a lot about outside and inside. What was happening outside, what was happening inside. And we spoke about how weather helps set the scene. So that's a really good thing. It's not going to be a bright sunny day where everything's going well, because that's not scary. It's going to be maybe raining, maybe drizzly, maybe it's a really, really hot, uncomfortable day and a storm is brewing, okay? Now usually scary stories don't happen in the middle of the day because it's light and we can see people. They usually happen at dusk, when it's getting dark in the middle of the night, so we can't see, so some of the threat is hidden, okay? So I thought about it and I would like to start mine with outside, inside. Now I've just spoken to you about weather. Before I start, I'm going to look at my pictures. Oh, look at that thunder. Oh, there's light creeping through. Okay, I'm going to move my pictures down so that I have space to write, because otherwise you might not be able to see it. So, copy down here. Okay, so outside. We're going to start outside. Oh, outside. What do I need after outside? Oh yeah, a comma. Outside, capital letter, as tall as our ascenders. Okay, they're all the same size. Middle-sized letters, all joined up. I did not take my pen off the board until I finished my word. You need to make sure you do the same. Outside, the thunder. Oh, it is thunder and lightning. That's scary. I don't like it when it's thunder and lightning. And I've spoken to a few of you, and I know that you don't either, because it's a bit, you don't know how far away it is, and you don't know what the threat is. And again, it's a fear of the unknown. And that's what we need to remember in A Tale of Fear. So outside, the thunder groaned. And lightning blinked. Outside, the thunder groaned and lightning blinked. Oh, who can spot the personification? That's right, lightning blinked. Because lightning doesn't blink, we blink with our eyes. And that's making the reader think, oh, what does it look like when lightning blinks? Outside, the thunder groaned and lightning blinked. Oh, what's going to be happening inside? I've got my full stop. I need my capital letter, as tall as ascenders. Inside, the remote barn the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten wooden panels. Oh look, put my expanded noun phrase in that we learnt about yesterday. I am making sure I'm putting in all the things that we've been learning from the last week and putting it into my writing. Nearly said lightning there. So, I'm going to reread it to you because I like to proofread just like you do, okay? So if you're writing as I'm writing, pause and make sure you reread. If you're writing afterwards, make sure you stop and reread after each sentence. So, outside the thunder groaned and lightning blinked. Inside the remote barn, the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten wooden panels. Okay, so I'm thinking about my adjectives. I'm thinking about how I'm describing it. I'm not just saying the wooden panels because I know they're made of wood. But if they're damp and they're rotten, oh, I know they're not in good condition. If it wasn't a damp, just wooden panels, it might be a nice barn. It might be a friendly barn with electric lights. But if it's damp and rotten, chances are there are not going to be lights. So it's going to be quite scary because it's going to be dark inside that barn. I've not told the reader that. I'm showing them through my writing. And that's another technique I want you to use. We're showing, not telling. As it fell silent, I'm using a fronted adverbial. As it fell silent. That means the weather stopped. There's been a pause in the weather. What's happening while the weather stopped? So, as it fell silent, or as the wind fell silent, that could be an option. As it fell silent, sharp barbed wire. Oh, we learnt about barbed. Okay, that point. Okay, it's sharp. You don't want to touch it. It's like on barbed wire. As it fell silent, sharp, barbed wire coiled rusted in the corner. of the dilapidated. I love that word. It just feels nice to say, doesn't it? Dilapidated. Or not dare, dilapidated barn. Okay, I've started my setting description. I have not put any character in yet. Okay, if I were to put a character in, it would be Omar from our story. Okay, no one else, one person, just Omar. Outside, the thunder groaned and lightning blinked. Inside the remote barn, the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten wooden panels. As it fell silent, sharp barbed wire coiled rusted in the corner of the dilapidated barn. Ooh. I'm using my senses really, aren't I? Outside the thunder, I can hear it. The lightning, I can see it, it's blinking. Okay, the remote barn, the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten panels. As it fell silent again, you're hearing it. Sharp barbed wire coiled, rusted in the corner of the dilapidated barn. Ooh. A harsh rasp echoed through the crumbling rafters. And to reread it. Outside, the thunder groaned and lightning blinked. Inside the remote barn, the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten wooden panels. As it fell silent, sharp barbed wire coiled rusted in the corner of the dilapidated barn. A harsh rasp echoed through the crumbling rafters. Omar froze. Was he alone? Okay. Outside, the thunder groaned and the lightning blinked. Inside the remote barn, the wind howled through the cracks in the damp, rotten wooden panels. As it fell silent, sharp barbed wire coiled rusted in the corner of the dilapidated barn. A harsh rasp echoed through the crumbling rafters. Omar froze. Was he alone? Okay. My objective was to describe the setting. Okay. I have described my setting of my barn. Okay. I've used Omar. I haven't described Omar because this is not a character description. It's not a story. It is a setting description. I am describing what he can see, what he can hear. Not once have I gone, Omar could hear thunder, because that's telling us what he could hear. Okay. It's so much more scary. Thunder rattled through the thunder rattled through the dilapidated barn, shaking every panel within an inch of its life. That's scarier than going, the barn shook. Okay? You need to think about how you're going to write it. I have written one full stop, one sentence. Ooh, two sentences. 3, 4. I've written 4. I'm going to challenge you to do 6. Okay? That's 6. I think that you will pick some settings that I can't even think of. That you will have some scary settings that will really make me go, oh, I've never thought of that before. Okay? Think about your senses. So, checklist. I would like you to try and use personification. Okay? I would like you to make sure that you are doing show, not tell. Okay? Weather has to be a feature. You need to describe the weather, what is happening. Okay? I want to see some outside, inside. You might challenge yourself and put some first word, last words. You might want to put in some onomatopoeia. It's up to you. Okay? So your challenge today is to write a paragraph. I am expecting perfecting your beautiful handwriting that you show to me every day in class, because you can all do it really well, okay? So, remember, we're describing a setting using detail. Use some pictures to help you. Read the text. I have chosen words from what I learnt yesterday in my text, okay? I didn't know yesterday, okay, that actually we could use coiled, okay? There's rasp that I learnt yesterday. What other words could you use? Outsmarted doesn't really describe a setting, okay? Think about setting. It's in your learning objective, it's really clear. Have your best shot at it, okay? And I can't wait to read your amazing work.